What's the last Netflix movie you watched? Probably The Gray Man, where I vowed that this might be the last Netflix movie I ever watch in my entire life, and I've held true to that so far. Because that one was a real stinker. Gray Man was great. Did Nolan Soft write that? I'm checking something. No, okay. Nolan Soft, you're chill. You're chill. Oh, it's true. I watched K-Pop Demon Hunters. Yeah, the K-Pop Demon Hunters is pretty good, man. Watch Paddington with your daughter. I would like to watch movies with my daughter, but she thinks all movies are scary. One of the interesting things about having kids is reconciling with issues from your own childhood personality that you conquered as an adult, but start from zero again in your child. Not everything, because, you know, the DNA is like chopped and screwed between the mom and the dad, and then they got their own little permutations that go into it as well. But as a kid, I was very anxious of just about everything. I've told this story 100 times, but I was a wimp, exactly. I was always nervous anytime I went to the movie theater that the screen would fall down and kill everybody watching the movie, which I think is just doesn't even make sense from an engineering context. But I genuinely, up until like age 8, age 9, every time, the first thought I would have when I sat down at the movies would be like, I hope the screen doesn't fall on us all and kill us. Like squish us like a fucking, like a Looney Tunes cartoon or something. And then I remember in like the 3rd grade, we had not a fire drill, but like an unexpected fire alarm went off at our school. And I've never had a panic attack, but I think I had like the closest thing to a panic attack. Our teacher was like, okay, everybody line up. We're going to like evacuate from the school. And we were the classroom that was right next to the front door of the school. So it was not a long trip. And I was like, I can't get in line. I have to get out of the building right now. And I like ran out of the building and then like was hyperventilating. And the teacher had to come talk to me and be like, everything's okay. And you know why I was freaking out? It's because the shit happened like right after the Oklahoma City bombing. So I was like, the same way that when 9/11 happened, even though I was in like rural Canada, I was like, the terrorists, Al-Qaeda's gonna crash an airplane into my house. I was like, this shit just happened in Oklahoma City and now it's happening here, right? So I was always a little, huge. Always a little paranoid for sure. I got over it, and it took a while. And I guess in a way, it's still kind of like an active process. Because sometimes I have to be like, I'm getting anxious. Is this worth getting anxious over? Or is this just my body's default case? And then I'm like, oh, default case. Okay, most of the time. But now my daughter has the same thing. She doesn't want to like go watch a movie because the movie will have like villains in it. And if villains are in it, then, you know, that could like ruin her day essentially. How'd you fly on an airplane? I didn't fly on an airplane until I was 21. My daughter straight up mogging me in frequent flyers. That's such a huge get for us, bro. That's crazy. It's not that crazy. I'm pretty sure the Wright brothers were like in their 40s. First time they flew on an airplane. That was not an airplane. Oh, whatever. It was like a bicycle with an umbrella attached to it or something. Nah, Korea was my second plane trip. My first plane trip, my parents were like, our wimpy son has never been on an airplane before, and he's about to fly to South Korea. We better take him somewhere on an airplane first so he knows what he's getting into. So we flew to Las Vegas on a budget carrier, which ironically was probably like the scariest flight I ever could have taken in terms of like real risk, because I don't know if those pilots are like even certified or whatever, but it's been all uphill ever since. Oh no! I'm not saying they grab drifters and throw them in the cockpit, but I do remember there's some things that they don't teach you about flying. That's why I'm glad we've normalized our daughter to it early. But like being an adult, and like, let me put it this way. I had seen footage of probably 1,000 plane crashes before I flew in a plane for the first time, which is not healthy. Because they really do, in spite of this year, they don't crash that often. Unless, I would advise if you cross the jetway and they say, this is your pilot, Harrison Ford speaking, you might want to consider faking a medical emergency to disembark from the aircraft, because he doesn't have the greatest track record, although he has a great track record of surviving the crashes. But nobody told me what happens when an airplane takes off. which is, especially if you're afraid of flying, like an anxiety lottery. First off, you get on the airplane and you're like, smells like industrial lubricant. Some cool, excuse me, flight attendant. I think does anyone else smell that? I think some industrial coolant is leaking from one of the engines. Like, you're always like thinking you're the only guy who has a sense of smell or who can diagnose a problem with the airplane where there isn't one. There's a hole, guys, there's tape on the wing right now. And then you'll relate, I think, if you're an anxious flyer. Did you knock on the plane? Who do you think I am, Shay Carl? No, bro. I don't want to knock on the plane. That compromises the structural integrity a little bit, even if it is 1/1 trillionth of a percent. But either way, the next thing is you're like, oh, once we take off, I can relax a little bit. But you taxi, depending on the airport, you roll a D20 and you taxi for whatever the result is, number of minutes before you take off. So you think you're about to take off because you're like almost not moving, and then they accelerate. No, it turns out you're going from your gate to jetway 36L, and then you gotta take a left turn, and then you're gonna go to 37, and then you gotta go anyway. So finally you get there, and then I don't know if there's a vehicle on Earth that you or I will ever be in that accelerates faster than an airplane. Because you've been in a fucking fast car, I'm assuming, like the taxi to the airport, where you're like, literally, we're leaving early. There's no reason that we have to be driving so fast while you're on the phone with one hand on the wheel, watching YouTube shorts. But the fucking it's insane that that's how you travel, man. I mean, and it's safe. That's what's crazy. You're like, I don't think we can go any faster. And that's like 1/3 of the way through the acceleration. And you know what's crazy is that the first 10 times I flew, I was like, this is the scariest thing that's ever happened. Every subsequent time that I've flown, I'm just like, fuck ass harmonica. Ain't it funny how the night can play tricks when you're trying to be so quiet? And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna fucking take take a perfected strike early, because a perfected strike can give you lots of scalar damage early, and then upgrade it and we'll cut it later. We sit here stranded. Yeah, well, doing our best to deny it. He's funny. Anyway, if you get afraid of flying, I'm sorry to tell you that I think the way that I cured my flight anxiety was just flying a lot, which is not what you want to hear. But the other thing, it depends. You got to be honest with yourself. Are you a rational individual? Most people aren't, and nobody is in every domain, myself included. But if you're a rational individual, I do think that looking up stats of plane crashes will help you, because like one in 10 million flights crashes. And you're just going on one measly flight, man. You're gonna be fine. Also, the idea that I genuinely, until recently, thought that every time you hit a bump of turbulence, that was like 1 to 500 feet of altitude change. And then I saw a comment online, or maybe chat told me, they're like, no, it's literally like 1 to 2 centimeters. It just feels scary because you're going 700 miles an hour or whatever. And I was like, oh, 1 to 2 fucking centimeters? I can do that, man. That's no problem. I do still think that they should fly around the clouds. I don't think they should be landing through clouds, because you can't see. I don't know if the pilots have ever considered this. I hate when we're doing a descent and then we're descending through like a cloud. I'm like, bro, they can't see. Go around. That's what airplanes do, bro. Go around it. The humble radar. I didn't know they were fucking serving like this. Rillaboom G-Max be like,
boobity boop boom 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 boobity boom 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 boobity boop boom 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 boobity boop boom boom boobity boop boom 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 boobity boop boom boom boobity boop boom boobity boop boom boobity boop boom boom. Sorry, okay. I didn't even get to the do 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 do